The body transformation journey or the body transformation quest. Um, you know, and please, if you at any point throughout this webinar, if you for some reason cannot hear me, that means the voice has dropped out. So then just send me a message in the chat room so that I know, because we had some issues previously. Last time was fine, so hopefully this time as well, everything will be okay. But yeah, so understanding the body transformation quest. You have joined me and you have trusted me to join me in a program that takes us through really understanding how human beings evolve. And I'm saying this today, I'm kind of in awe of the program today because I have just had news in the last couple of days of 3 people I know of or knew very well deciding to take their own life because of the suffering they have gone through. So, human beings sometimes go through a very, very difficult journey, and a lot of people, unfortunately, uh, suffer a lot. And a lot of this has to do with the pain body or the conditioning that they carry. All the inner torture, the inner conflicts, the problems they have with coping with and dealing with the world around them, but also very much, what's going on the inside for them. So, you know, I feel more the importance of this material than ever because there are so many people who do not have the resources to understand themselves and to heal themselves. Only this morning, I got a long email from a woman who, probably from the outside, seems perfectly normal and functional and reasonably happy. And she wrote me a long, long email about, her inner torment and her inner suffering and how difficult she felt life was and how much pain she was in. And so there is something about really finding the expertise to deal with all this, because even when people do go to therapists or they go to experts to try to get some help, they don't always get the help. And this material, from all my travels and all my studying throughout the years, is the accumulation of everything I've learned about what does it take for a human being to really change, to really heal that pain body, and to be set free of that suffering. So everyone is free to live a truly happy life where they get access to their creative powers and to the powers of creation. So we're back to the good old pain body, and the question is, what is the pain body? What is it? So basically, the pain body is the accumulation of all the experiences a person goes through and has in life that is not processed and that is not released. So remember, the subconscious mind, and I wonder how clear you are about what the subconscious mind is. So if you're not clear about how the subconscious mind works or what it is, please just type in your questions in the chat room as well. But the subconscious mind is kind of everything that's out of our awareness. It's like the programs that run in the background that we're not currently aware of. And it functions a little bit like a black box of an airplane. It keeps track of all our experiences, everything we've been through, everything we have observed and experienced, all our feelings, how other people have reacted to us, all the pain and suffering we've seen in the world, but also all the happiness and all the goodness. The thing with the subconscious mind is it's very reactive. It is it's almost like a meaning-making machine. It just operates on triggers like a computer program. So it's like, if this, then that. If this happens, then that. It doesn't make sense of things. And also, it does not communicate very well with our conscious mind. So you can imagine, for example, if you set yourself a goal that you want to achieve something. I mean, a lot of you are working on the law of attraction and manifesting things. You know, our conscious mind um, will might maybe have one desire. It's like, I want to lose weight, or I want to make more money, or I want to do this, or I want to create this in my life, or I want to be happy. And it's like another part of us is working against us, because the subconscious mind very often has a different intention than what our conscious mind is. So when we set an intention, for example, you know, let's say I want to be successful and you know, make more money, or I want to take my business forward, or I want to, you know, I want to create this in this life. What we do is we activate the pain body, and the pain body is buried in the subconscious mind. So, you know, when something happened to us that we do not process, the subconscious mind buries it deep down so that we don't have to feel it. It's like a way just to protect us. And what happens is the subconscious mind sets up what we call gatekeepers, like locks the door to the suppressed material. So, for example, if you have felt really, really fearful as a child, or you felt really hurt, or really, you know, had a very difficult time, these feelings push down and buried. And then they get locked away. The gatekeepers put a door there, or a lock, or a wall, and it locks the door, and it throws away the key, and it makes sure you forget that it even exists. So you have these buried feelings locked away, and you know, they say buried feelings, you know, feelings buried alive, they never die. It's like they're always there. And so you can imagine, if you carry a deep hurt, for example, or a fear, it's like you've forgotten it's there, but energetically, it's like almost like, can you imagine the feeling of trying to keep a beach ball underwater? Have you ever tried that? If you've been in a pool or in the ocean, you try to keep something that's full of air underwater. It requires a lot of energy and a lot of attention from the subconscious mind. So as we set our intention, for example, I set an intention, or, you know, like if you set an intention of, I really want to make my business very, very successful, there might be an opposing part in the pain body that says, oh, that would actually be really scary. You know, for me to have a successful business means I have to be out there in the world. And I have a previous experience that I've even forgotten, that I have decided it's really scary and it's not safe to be out there in the world to you know, fully and completely. So the pain body sabotages you. It holds you back um, until the energy that's originally there is released. So we're looking at a split. You know, we're looking at a split where uh, the mind wants one thing. You know, our thinking says, yeah, you know, I can do that. I can create an amazing business, and I can go out there and do really well. Or, you know, I can lose the weight, or I can have a happy relationship, or I can have, you know, whatever it is that I want to create. Uh, but the pain body is not only deciding these things, it's also replaying old scenarios. So, for example, if you haven't witnessed a happy relationship, it's hard to create it. If your memory, for example, for how your parents interacted with each other, or how they treated you, this is what is reenacted until we have released it. So, you know, when we start, you know, what I wanted to talk a little bit about today was the stages of what it takes to for a human being to really transform their life. So if you imagine, um, what are some of the dreams and wishes and wants that you have in your life? And, you know, feel free to type it in, like if you have a big goal that you're working towards. that you would like to look at or that you just want to throw out there? You know, the thing is, in terms of stages, and some of you might have come across, Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. I'm going to play you a quick little video about that before we start, actually. It's only a couple minutes.
Jean-Paul Sartre says, everything has been figured out except how to live. So perhaps the better question is not what are we to do with death, but what are we to do with life? Life exists in individual moments, and it is up to us to make sure that those moments are vast, interconnected, and grand, to make a masterpiece out of life, one that we would willingly live again and again for all of eternity. This is what we could strive for. And I love this idea of aestheticizing our lives, of italicizing our experience, of turning our story into the story, of seeing the universal in the specific, and sort of aligning ourselves with the archetype of the hero's journey, of trying to see a departure from the ordinary in every single instance, a chance to learn something new, a chance to leverage obstacles and learn from them, and meet people along the way that can teach us something. It's what the movie Eat, Pray, Love talks about, quest physics, the physics of the quest. If you believe and you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, life will begin at the edge of your comfort zone. If you're able to treat what seems like despair, what seems like hardship as an opportunity to reinvent yourself and to transcend your own limitations. As Stephen Johnson says, the world is full of clues and you can read your way through it. If you're able to turn your life into an art piece, if you're able to turn your narrative into the narrative, then you become that hero. You become the god of your own life. It's the archetype in every film. It's the Joseph Campbell hero's journey. And well, that's just rad. That's just a cool idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's just a cool idea. That's it. And the hero's journey, turning your life into a masterpiece, turning and turning life into a masterpiece for everyone around you. Because, I mean, you're coaches, you're already skilled at these things, and you have a lot of knowledge, but the world is suffering. The world is having a hard time. We're seeing some extreme things happening around us. You look at the conflicts and the pain. You look at what's happening in Gaza. It's horrible. It's people are really having a hard time on so many levels. Yeah, there are some people who are really getting this material now and thriving and doing well, but it's up to us now to be a guiding light and help people forward. And in order for people to really have those amazing lives, they have to go through this hero's journey, or the stages of the quest, in order for human transformation to really happen. There is a process that people have to go through. So if you think of first this, with the pain body, that in order for, I'm going to use a better one here, we have the light body. So, hey Noah, see you there. In order for this to be able to happen for people, if people are going to manifest their intention, we have to connect their conscious mind and their subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind lives in the body, or we can access it through the body. That is the point of calling this program the Body Transformation Quest. Yes, it also means that when you have aligned your pain body completely, your body can reach physical perfection. So your health can reach physical perfection. But you also set yourself free completely, or set your clients free, to be able to really live that life, to live free of all the conditioning of the past, to live free of all the pain that has, the residues of pain that they're carrying. Because what is it most people are living from? They live from a reactive pattern of the past. Whether it's their ancestral past, all the things they inherited, that they got with them, the things they were born with, the things that were given to them by their cultures and their families, and it's almost like the wounds of the past were just passed on to them. It's like, your parents on an energetic level say, oh, well, I haven't dealt with those. I haven't been able to deal with these wounds because I didn't know how. Now it's up to you. So here you go. Here are the family wounds passed on to you. Good luck. So we come in already with all this baggage, and then we have experiences through our childhood that get stuck in our system because, parents and the people around us, they didn't know either. So we weren't usually given a chance to really process this material because it's not so much what happens to us. People can go through big trauma and release it. It's not a problem necessarily, but the problem is when it's not processed and it's buried and it's stuck in our energetic system. It's held down by tensing our muscles, by not breathing, and it's running in the background even if we don't know it, because as I said, it's made unconscious to us by the gatekeepers of the subconscious mind. So it's not available. So we have to, in order to release it, get access to the files. We have to open the files and release the material and process it in a way that a great parent would have done, or a wise guide along the way. So both for ourselves and for the people we are about to help. And as I said, the world really needs your help. So please, let's get through this fast and get you up to speed, and let's get to work, because we don't have time. This is urgent. And the stages of the quest, if we start with the first one, which is what we call the call to awaken. The call to awaken usually does not happen through a big inspiration that says, oh my God, I'm going to create something wonderful. Sometimes it does, but usually it starts from the opposite. It starts from the feeling that something is not right. My life is not okay. I'm in pain. I'm in agony. There is crisis around me, maybe. I see the suffering of the world. I know something inside me is longing for something, but I might not even know what it is. And as coaches, I'm absolutely sure that you get clients like this all the time, or you hear it in your friends. It's like, it's like a gnawing feeling inside that it's life is not what it can be. I am not what I can be. We're not living up to our potential as mankind, whether it is that we're living in extreme suffering because we meet the pain body of the world everywhere. And if you look at the big conflicts, like I mentioned before, Gaza, like look at what people are doing to each other. Look at what, and this is the pain body acting out. If there was no conflict and no war inside a person, they would not be able to manifest that around them. And we are replaying an old pain body that is the history of mankind. It's being replayed and replayed and replayed. And again, as I said, it's time to release it. We need to let this go now. And it's the first time, as I've said in previous webinars, it's really the first time in history we have this opportunity. We have entered through the portal of transformation in 2012, and we now have everything. Can you imagine the internet, what it's doing? We have access to all the information of the ages for the first time in history. Previously all the wisdom was all buried in secret books and hidden away in libraries that only certain people had access to, but now it's all there. Yeah, okay, the internet's full of junk as well, but the wisdom is also there and it's being shared freely, which is wonderful. But yeah, so sometimes, in terms of starting a quest, we need the call to awaken. It's like, wake up. Come on, look at this. Look at what's going on in your life around you. And sometimes life starts a quest for you. It could be a crisis. It could be a heartbreak. It could be a difficult situation. It could be, we're just longing for something. We know we're not really living the life we're meant to. We're holding ourselves back. Something is sabotaging us. Something inside me is not quite, you know, living fully. Maybe it's the physical symptoms we get. Maybe we have a pain. Maybe we have an ache. Maybe we have an illness. Maybe it's financial trouble. Maybe it's a relationship that's not right, or we know that our weight is not right, or maybe we have an addiction. But something says, I am not on my true path. I am not aligned with my authentic self. And, it's time. It's time to do something different. I need to start my quest. Sometimes it's big quest that goes out into the world where I say, I'm going to be, make a big change. And sometimes it's a silent little quest inside ourselves. There are a lot of heroes living, that what looks on the outside like a small life, but whatever they do inside themselves to release the pain body is transforming the world in just as big way as the big outer quest. So we need to honor all the heroes at all levels. It's not just the big accomplishments in the world. Sometimes the big accomplishments are very silent little ones. The quest to master ourselves. So we get the wake-up call, and living fully, being authentic, speaking your truth, and now is the time, and you are the person to do it. You are the chosen one, whether you believe it or not. There is no coincidence that you are here, that you're part of this program. We are the ones. Many people ignore the calling. It's there, but they ignore it. It's, we ignore the symptoms, we push it away. People go deeper into their addictions and their distractions, and they ignore the call because they're scared. They ignore it because of the responsibility, or maybe the insecurity, or old habits they have, or commitments, or the pressures from other people, So, or maybe they think, well, who am I to do this? I'm scared that maybe I'm not good enough, or something wrong with me. And the thing is, if you choose to, you can go back to sleep, like most people do. You can stuff the longing down by eating something, or you can get busy distracting yourself, or turn the TV up a bit louder, and just do what you do, to kill your life off. Or you can make the decision that it's time. So my question to you is, do you have the courage to answer the calling, the deepest calling inside yourself? And your soul knows what this calling is. You don't have to know how to do it fully and completely, The only thing you need to do is to say, yeah, yes, it's time, and I'm going to do it. And then breathe life into it and take the first little step. And, the question is, what is it you are being called to do or to become? Where are you out of alignment with the real truth or the true path? And what might be the consequences of not answering this calling? If you just ignore it and choose to play small, what could be the consequences for you? What is your probable, almost certain life, or your almost certain future if you don't answer your calling? And then, what is it that you need to do? What is it you need to face? So the next step for us is entering the unknown. If I say yes to my calling, that starts a process that is a lot bigger than us. The forces of the universe, the divine forces start. They say the size of the game you pick equals the size of the tests you will be given. And entering the unknown, say, yeah, I'm ready. I will do it. Whatever it takes, I'm doing it. You are going to go into a territory that will force you to grow and evolve and enter into the field of adventure. So we leave the familiar world we know behind and venture into the, an unknown territory. It's like out of our comfort zone. It's not meant to feel comfortable. And you know what happens when people start taking a couple of steps out of their comfort zone if they don't understand why this is necessary. And this is the key, guys, for you know, understanding the stages of the quest. When you have a client, it is so important to explain to them why the stages of the quest are important. You know, why, how they work, and what they can expect, what to go through. Because when they understand that, when we understand that, we realize that when things starts getting a little bit uncomfortable, it has a purpose. It's meant to feel uncomfortable. It's not meant to feel right. And you know, it's meant to make you grow. It's meant to make you evolve, become a bigger person. And change, real transformation and real growth cannot happen when you are comfortable in your chair doing what you've always done. So, you know, this is about not feeling protected, not feeling safe, not feeling absolutely certain. This is about uncertainty. This is about accepting uncertainty. The quality and the size of your life is directly proportionate with the amount of uncertainty that you can handle and that you are willing to handle. It is about vulnerability. It is about being present to the experience that you're having. It is about courage. It is about facing the new, you know. And I'm not saying it's only going to be difficult, you know. There's a reason we're doing this. The reward is immense. The beauty of it is immense. The love in it is immense, you know. But in the meantime, being present can be a little bit scary. Being willing to not know what the next step is, what meets you around the next corner, and really being present to every part of the journey, not running away to your head, not running away into the future thinking about what's next, not running away to the past, but being there, facing whatever it is that comes up. So what is my experience right now? And sometimes accepting the difficult, the discomfort of being on earth, you know, like looking at the suffering that's going on around you and being with it, like, you know, how intense it actually can be, so that we can help release it. Because the state of being human should be blissful and happy, but it's not blissful and happy until we have released the pain. Because what people try to do is push away the pain body without releasing it. So they distract themselves. They go to their heads. They go to fantasies. They go to addictions. They go to ways of covering it up. But we need to go the opposite direction. We need to do what seems bizarre to most people. You know, we live in societies that are very medicated. So if something hurts, people try to stop the pain. They don't get curious about what is the pain and realize, as you know, the man on the video said, he said there's opportunity in discomfort. You know, hardship in life is an opportunity to reinvent himself. It's actually the gate to reinvent yourself. So we are learning how to go into the difficult, go into the symptoms, go into the pain, to dissolve it. It's like, you know, if you hear the old fairy tales where you have the dragons or the trolls, you know, the monsters, it's like we have to face them. You know, like running away from them, they're always out there somewhere. They're always a threat. They could always show up in our village. But we have to be the hero and go out and say, okay, I'm going to face this. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to slay the dragon. And for example, in Scandinavian mythology, like when people really faced the troll, when they saw the troll, or the trolls came out in daylight, they dissolved, they disappeared. And it's the same with these energies. When we embrace them, they dissolve, they go away. Yeah, there might be a layer of pain that we have to go through first, but once we get past that, it's gone, it's dissolved. It no longer has the spell in our life. The curse, if you want, in our life. Because, you know, when people try to set intentions, you know, for you know, the law of attraction techniques and, you know, reality creation techniques, what is playing in the background is the pain body. So they're up against a conflict between their intention and the pain body. So it's like a dissonance that happens that we want to clear. And it's not about, very often people say, well, think positively, focus on the positive, focus on the nice, focus on the light, focus on your intention, which is well and good. But imagine if you're dragging behind you a huge suitcase full of old junk, and then you're supposed to think positively and pretend the suitcase isn't there, but it's tied to you. You can't get rid of it. So let's open that suitcase. Let's get rid of all the junk inside it, and let's just enough, Let's not pretend it's not there, but let's actually say, oh, it's there. It's the old junk from the history of my family. It's the old junk that I've been carrying from the pain in my childhood that I buried, and let's just leave it behind, enough. So yeah, so entering the unknown is definitely it. And part of the process is to, we say pack your bags and say your goodbyes, because when we start off towards something new, there are things that we need to release. And, one of our 12 keys has to do with letting go. What are all the old stuff that we need to let go of? So if you look at your house, you think, is my house full of old junk? Or not necessarily junk, but like, is your house full of items that carry old energy that you need to release? Do you have unfinished projects that you are hanging around and stealing your energy? Is it people that you need to let go of? Is there anyone in your life that is still giving you negativity and holding you to the old patterns? Are there people you need to forgive? Are there energies you need to release? Are there things that you haven't expressed and haven't said? And just see, if you're going to create this new life, a fifth dimension life, where you have freedom to really become that which your soul knows that you are, what is that needs to be released? What is still holding you back? And once you've let go and you start that quest and you say, yeah, I'm willing to leave my comfort zone, I'm following my calling, I might not even know what it is yet, and that's okay. I just know that there's something bigger or something truer to me that I need to do. Then what's going to happen is we start meeting our guides and helpers. It's said that when a person really desires something, all the universe conspires to help that person realize this dream. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. This is what I mean. There is no coincidence. We are here together doing this program. And every person you meet, once you've set this big intention, which I know you have, because if not, you would not be on this program. You have already declared a big game. Even if it's not clear for you yet, for some of you it might be, and for others it might not be yet, but somehow you're onto something big. And the synchronicities will start happening. So the guides and helpers, it could be a book that appears, it could be a coach, a guardian, a wise person. It's a friend along the way, who you bump into. Meaningful coincidences along the way is going to start happening. Sacred teachers in many forms that guides us. And just know from now on forward, there are no coincidences ever. So it's like you're following the white rabbit, like in the Matrix, keep following the signs, keep following the subtleties, and see even the negative things that happen. Every event that's difficult, it has a message and it has a task for you to solve. So, the journey is yours though. The helpers can assist you and point you in the way, but no one can take the journey for you. And it has to be that way. If you're to benefit and grow, you have to go through things yourself and find your place of inner wisdom. Which is the next one. When I say finding the sacred temple, this program is called the Body Transformation Quest. And although it can sound like a gym program, and I've thought a lot about changing the name, at the same time, I keep coming back to the same thing, because the sacred temple in this meaning is actually in the body, because in order to change this, a lot of what we try to do is on the outside. It's like, oh, if I want to be successful, I need to work harder. I need to do this. I need to try harder on the outside. I need to, make more phone calls. I need to do this. I need to go to the gym more often. I need to blah, 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 blah. It's like a lot of our attempts are on the outside. And the thing is, we are entering an age where the magnetism of who we are on the inside is what is key. We need to get the game right on the inside. The inside always mirrors the outer. So it's like, you can imagine in a movie theater, if you have a projector that's projecting something on a wall, on a screen, and you don't like the movie. So you go up to the screen and you try to change what happens there. It makes no sense. The only way to do that is to go back and change what was sent out of the projector. So if you think of yourself as being something that broadcasts and creates what is around you, and what is it you need to do? What is it you need to get right on the inside in order for the outside to happen? And know that a lot of the things that's being broadcast is very old stuff that you are not even aware of. So when you think of you attracting certain things or creating certain things, it's very hard when this is completely out of your awareness and it's just replaying old material that might not even be yours. I mean, it could be family stuff that's being reproduced, So we need to really learn to go into, we get access to this through our nervous system, through the subtleties of the body, learning to get the messages from each chakra, from each part of our body. Remember last week we were talking about the language and of the body and how the body speaks to us. Because all of the riddles, if you want, all of the tasks, all of the hidden keys are all in the body. And the day you master that, you can master anything in your life. So the subconscious mind, again, it's got the gatekeepers to stop us from accessing this material. And, this is actually what our next session is going to be about. Like, how do we start solving the riddles of the body? So finding the sacred temple and teaching your clients and learning yourself, how do I access all this material so that I can change the outer projection of my life? Then I have true power to manifest and to create. So all of those books that you've read, all of the seminars you've attended on, reality creation, the law of attraction, all of a sudden it's going to start kicking in and really start working. But during this process, you will be taken on the road of trials. The road of trials is where we grow into our new life. This is where we really get faced with the tests. The tests might be small, they might be big. They might be difficult, they might be beautiful, But it is where all the old material inside of us is replayed so that we can get it right. Because, this is what happens in our life nonstop. For example, people keep having challenges. They have challenges that look like they come from the outside. It might be accidents. It might be betrayals by other people. It might be, the lack of money. It might be, whatever it is. It is, again, a projected reality from something inside ourselves. So every time something happens on the outside, it is for us to say, okay, how and in what way is this replaying something on the inside of me? And again, we need to go into the sacred temple to find the answer, which is the body. Where do I notice this pattern? In what part of the body? How does it feel? What is it really about? What is the original memory of this issue? Like if you, for example, somebody betrays you or speaks badly of you or criticizes you, think, where is the root of this issue? What's the true cause of this issue? Where do I feel this? So we start going back. I'm not going to go in depth with this right now, but we're going to learn how to solve all of those riddles so that we can clear it all up. And the tests are harder the more material there is, and the harder tests will allow us to release deeper material. And if you think of this if you think of the Earth, the whole planet as well, being a body which, the soil, the ground, the oceans carries the pain body of the earth. Can you imagine all the suffering that's gone on? It's like a compost of all the things that's been happening. And it's being replayed again and again and again. So even if you personally feel like, oh, well, I don't feel like I have a very big pain body, I feel reasonably happy, there's so much work to do on what's going on for other people. So again, the test is a way the universe shows us to re-experience these things, because that's what happens. It's like the lesson is repeated until it's learned. The lesson is repeated until it's learned or mastered, because we have to gain mastery in some areas. What are the areas where you need to learn something, where you need a new skill? Maybe it's loving yourself. Maybe it's dealing with other people. Maybe it's setting up boundaries and protecting yourself, building an immune system for yourself. Because, immune diseases, think of them as, has this person a way of really defending themselves, metaphorically. So, we need to look at the tasks that are connected to each chakra, because there is only a certain amount of tasks we need to master to live full lives, and they're all linked in with the chakras. So we have a list of about 40 of them, and obviously there's subtle nuances to each one, but once you master those, you're good to go, you're fine. So it's a nice little matrix to be able to check in with your clients as well and see, I wonder which is the, where this person has the most lack, or where they're overcompensating, what is going on for this person. You can quickly check through this matrix once you've learned it and mastered it, so that it's not kind of a never-ending riddle. It's like human beings are actually not that complicated once you get this. It can feel that way, especially for them when they have a lot of overwhelming feelings and they have, so many different symptoms showing up in their lives. But the truth is, the root of it is actually not that complex. It can be difficult and hard emotionally to go through, but to understand it as a system is not that difficult. And, when the test starts happening, that is, when people tend to, again, run back home. They give up. And this is when we need to reassure people why the test, why the roads of trials is necessary in order to get to the other side, to achieve transformation. People, this has to happen. And to remind them to get back on the journey, to have the courage to go through those trials, because they're not never ending. They do end. The pain ends. But because people very often they don't have a representation or an understanding of what's on the other side, like how happy and how good and how wonderful it can feel to have released all these issues, because they've lived their whole life with this pain body. They, when the road of trial starts, when the pain starts, they just know that, oh my God, more pain. Let me just go back to what feels comfortable. I'll eat something or drink something or distract myself or go to the doctor and get some medication, antidepressants or whatever it is, so that we forget this pain and avoid this pain. But to feel it is actually, quite important. So the next one, is breaking the spell, and that's what I mean by solving the riddles. This is really key. So we're going to go into more in the next session, like how do we actually solve these riddles? What are they, and how do we deal with them? You're asking where you can find the videos of the sessions. I have uploaded them to YouTube. because we were struggling to get them in the right format in time on the for the webinars onto the website. We are doing a much bigger system, as I said, on the website, and as soon as that is ready, hopefully within the next couple of days, you will have access to that. But in the meantime, I put them all on YouTube, so I will upload this one as well onto YouTube as soon as we have just created a private area in YouTube for you, and so that external people can't find them. This is our material and our personal stuff. So I will send you the link to that, and you will find every video from now on there as soon as I've uploaded this one. So breaking the spell. And then in this process, it's about finding the true vision. What is my true path? And knowing the truth, knowing your what is right for me, what feels good for me, has also to do with connecting in with the body. Once you've connected to that place, there will be no doubt what you're meant to do. There'll be no doubt of your purpose in life. There'll be no doubt about your self-respect and your self-love. There will be no problem standing up for yourself and protecting yourself and speaking your truth, because once you have connection to that place, there's only two things that exist, and it's truth and it's love. And everything else will just fall away. Now, there is one more thing that, tends to happen, which is really connected to the road of trials, but I've put it as a separate point because it is what we call the darkest hour. And if you look at the template that's used in a lot of movies, where they use the hero's journey as a template, you have that point where the hero has the biggest test, the one that looks almost impossible to win. And very often he or she has to go through that test alone. This is the key. It is like a test that feels so impossible, and it's a time in our life that feels like, oh, how am I ever going to get through this one? And, it feels like instead of things getting better, they actually get worse for a while. And this is where we really need the faith and the trust. Because right on the other side of that is the new life. It is a return to our truth in a way that is just blissful and amazing, and where it's the total release of the pain body. So, the point of the stages of the quest, and having this as an explanation model, is really to understand, why does things have to feel uncomfortable? Why do we need these difficult times? Why are these trials happening? Why is this happening to me when I've set this beautiful positive intention? Why does it look like the law of attraction doesn't work for me? Why am I still at dark, horrible things? What's going on? Why am I not making the money, or finding the love, or being free? What's going on? And also to teach people, how do you break the spell? And what is the purpose of really being in the body? So when you explain the model to your clients, and when you explain it to yourself and remind yourself why it's happening, it is so reassuring. I've had clients who've been in extreme pain, emotionally, and I've had people hang over a toilet for days, throwing up and feeling absolutely horrible. But because they knew what was going on, they understood that the body was releasing something very old, they were just fine with it. I'm not saying it was a pleasant experience, and I'm sure it was scary and difficult, and people go through some very hard times, but because they know it's reassuring, because if they were having that pain without understanding what was going on, they wouldn't have been able to solve the riddle, to solve the task, so that the issue could go away. And this is very often what happens in people's lives. Life keeps happening to them, difficult things keep happening, pain keeps showing up, and they give up on all this positive stuff. They give up on the self-development stuff because it feels like it just doesn't work for them. So that is the importance of explaining the model of the quest for them, the stages of the quest, to really see, why we're going through this, and also understand, to explain to them which stage they're in. So if you have any thoughts on this, any questions about this, please let me know what your and also your experience, if you want to talk a little bit about it. What role has this played in your life? I certainly know in my own life, yeah, please put it in the chat room if you have anything at all that you want to comment on. But I know for certain in my life that once I really declared a big game, and I said to the universe and to my own subconscious, I said, you know what, I want to, once I started understanding this thing of the pain body, I did say and I did declare, I said, I want to go all the way. I want to clear it completely. I want to be completely released of the historic pain body. And I headed off, I really entered the unknown. I went into the Amazon jungle. I went into, explore shamanic work. To really open up to something. And coincidences really did start happening. Guides and helpers, it started appearing really, really, really fast. Some of the messengers didn't bring good news at all. I mean, they brought, pain and heartbreak and difficult things. But what I realized was they were mirrors of things that I was carrying inside of me. Old patterns and old hurts that I was carrying, and a lot of it was not even mine. It was literally things I was carrying from my culture, from my family, and maybe from the pain body of the entire world. Reflections in me. I mean, we are carbon. We are made of the earth, so we are literally composed of everything that has been experienced. But at the time when this started happening to me, I was already, I was quite successful in doing the personal development work. I was traveling around the world. I had a successful business. I was doing really well. And when I declared this big game, everything started to reorganize, because it was like the universe. And I didn't understand why at the time. I didn't yet understand what was going on. So everything started to kind of, it felt like it was falling apart. So instead of becoming more successful, it was like everything that wasn't truthful was being taken away. Relationships were falling apart. All my security was pulled from underneath me. It was almost like the universe was saying, hey, you need to find true security in yourself without any reassurance of anything, and it was absolutely terrifying. And I felt completely like a failure, because yeah, I'm gonna have to answer your question in just a second, Noah. Thank you for that. That's great. I felt like everything was falling apart instead of being rebuilt, and I didn't yet understand why it was going on. But then as the process went further, and I was experiencing all this pain, and it got worse and worse and worse and worse, and it was like all of a sudden it was like it was being explained to me. I can't even explain to you what happened, but all of a sudden it started falling in place in my mind, and I really understood it, like what was happening and why it needed to happen. And then I started understanding. I started understanding why it needed to happen, and I started understanding how to solve the riddles. And one by one, I was able to solve the riddles by going into and opening up those places in my own body. And I understood why I, especially me, had to go through those experiences, and why it had to be so painful. Because if it hadn't been that painful, I wouldn't have connected with my body, because I was a typical head case. I was a typical, somebody who just, I understood it. I knew all the theories. I had read all the books. I could explain it. But I also understood that I was almost like parroting back knowledge that I had learned from other people, the wise people of all ages. So I needed to go in and get my own knowledge. It had to come from me. I had to be the source, in the same way as you have to be the source. You have to find it in yourself. So to answer your question, Noah, Noah asked, so how can I know if I'm on the right path or not? How can you know? Where is your place of truth? Like if you go inside yourself, and the place of truth is usually in the gut. It's like you talk about a gut feel. And one of your tasks is to find all the answers within yourself. So, and this in theory sounds like, yeah, okay, you have to find the answers in yourself. But if I ask you, are you on the right path? What is your right path? Are you living your truth? And which parts? Because usually the answer will be yeah, but, or yes, and, or sometimes no. Yeah, partially. That's exactly it. It's like, I would say for those of you who are here, there is a part of you that has connected with this program because you are connected to a truthful path. There is something in you that is a definite yes. Because if not, you wouldn't be here. That's just the truth. But there is also still, most of us have something about us that is still not fully authentic, that is not fully there, that is still maybe scared, that is still carrying pain body, the historic pain body of our cultures, of our families, or blah, 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 the things we've just talked about. So it's like the knowing is inside you, like which part of me is now fully aligned, and you can scan your body. Like if you imagine sending your true path through yourself, if you start from the top of your head, and you just imagine scanning your whole body and saying, which part of me is totally aligned? Where is energy allowed to flow fully and completely? And where are there blocks? And the clearing of this happens in layers. When we first start this work, a lot of the body is not accessible to us. We are not even aware that we're not connected with it. So, like as we go through this process and we open file after file after file, that's what I call them, but it's almost like we are making the body conscious to us. So if you notice now, if you breathe into your body and you become aware of it as much as you can, how connected are you to your body? Because in order to find your absolute truth, you have to be fully and completely present to your body. And not only in your body, you have to completely embody your body, meaning be in the body, but you also have to be present to it, like all the messages. So the question that you asked really has different parts to it. Are you on the right path? In terms of the work you've chosen and who you are choosing to become and the courage that you're putting into your life, I am certain you're on the right path. The question is also, is every part of you taking part in this journey yet? Or are there still parts of the pain body that is still manifesting and creating an old paradigm in some way or some form? So this is a question that each of us has to answer for ourselves. This is what I mean, no external reality, me or anyone else, can ever tell you if you're on the right path fully and completely, if all of you are aligned. This is, the wizard or the divine in you, the center of knowledge in you, like if I scan my body and my I have done a lot of work on it now, and I have released, I will say something like 97% of the pain body, and it feels like a really, really blissful place. But there are tiny little fragments of it left. And what I have managed to accomplish is I am now fully aware of my body. I'm fully aware, like it's almost like all the files are open. But there's still a little bit of residue, and I can feel it if I really go into it. It's behind my eyes, and it's slightly in the jaw, and in tailbone, and almost like in the buttocks or in the area that's holding on to a tiny residue of fear. And I know for sure it's not my personal fear. It is a fear, and I went into it last night to sort of really connect with what it was. And it has to do with a deep grief over what mankind has gone through. So it's like almost like my soul does not want to totally embody my body, because the body means being fully on earth, being fully present to the pain and the suffering that, because although I can get my life right, there is still a lot of suffering going on around me. And it is something in me that's saying, wow, it's not fully safe. But I also know it is right around the corner. It might be next week, it might be the week after, that this last few percent has just fully released. And it feels incredibly truthful, it feels incredibly liberating, and it's just true. I mean, there's a feeling there of no doubt of being on the right path or feeling it. But I can feel almost like a little rubber band holding me back still, like a horse being reined in that says, nope, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. It's like that full manifestation power. And being aware of that process, one of the things I stopped doing was pushing forward, because I knew it was, although it could create temporary results, I knew that I needed to complete the process fully and completely before unleashing the manifesting powers. And so that process has probably also been a little bit why we've had delays. And like, even as I said, I don't believe in coincidences in that sense. And even the technical problems we had during the webinars, I knew it was a manifestation of something. Like, if you see now, it's the same software, and the technical problems, as far as I can tell, are not there. So something has shifted, and something is about to shift. We have just exited a portal of transformation, energetically and in astrologically as well, that is, has done a lot of work. It's almost like it's put us all through a washing machine of creating a lot of chaos to stir up things so that we could release them. Because that's usually how it works. Chaos, problems, issues are showing us where we need to work. Where is the work needed? Not on the outside, on the inside. What is it in me that needs this reflection to still show up? Like a mirror of what is still needed. And the thing is, even if the world remains on a third dimension level, meaning the world still remains in a lot of chaos, one person at a time can move into a fourth and a fifth dimension where there is blissful happiness. And it's almost like we have to go there and be fully there, and then we can put our hand down and help other people with their process and help them out of the pain and help them out of that third dimensional paradigm of reproducing the pain body, and help them totally getting access to the light body. Okay, well, that was way past what I was planning to talk about, but I think it's important, and it's the work is a lot more powerful than I ever realized when I started this. It is just, in one way, it's everything. It holds the key to absolutely everything, which is, the power and the depth of it. Any thoughts or questions about that? Because that was a lot of information once. What is happening for you? What's going on for you personally with this? Silence. Well, you could also feel free to message me if you want, but I'd love to hear from some of you. Yeah, Noaf is saying a lot of changes. A lot of us will have gone into quite a lot of chaos in the last few years, or a lot of quite intense happenings. We just moved from a paradigm of uh, what we call the Cancerian energy. If you think of the zodiac signs as just metaphors, they are big archetypes, and we moved from a place of the Cancerian energy, which is almost like a needy child. It's the inner child, and it's mothering, and the lack of mothering that's been going on the planet. And obviously, there have been mothers, but a lot of the mothers have carried a lot of hurt, which is passed on to the children. So we're now moving into a paradigm of being able to parent ourselves. It's almost like we're learning to heal the parenting that wasn't done. And this is a big part of one of our keys, which is what I call through thick and thin, and we're going to spend more time on that as well. Yeah. So okay, Nawaf is saying a lot of changes. Fahad is saying I passed through dark hours, some understandable, some not, and really hurt. So it sounds like there's a lot of processing going on there where things are being mirrored to you. And so it's again going back in and feeling, what are those dark hours teaching you? It's like an initiation process, First of all, feeling the pain is a way of developing a deep compassion. And I know you, and I know you already have an immense compassion and a huge heart. And that feels like it's deepening and really finding that compassion and love for yourself. What is the hurt telling you? Like the outside events are stirring feelings in us of what we need to heal, and really the process of being there for ourselves, not just as a theory, but really just understanding, what I've had to go through. What is it that you've had to experience, and that, how painful it sometimes can be, and just understanding that that's the pain body. Sometimes we feel these, this grief and this hurt and this very often like a shame and a guilt because we didn't get life right, or it's happening too late, or I'm taking too much time and I'm not as successful as I could be, or my body is expressing itself in ways, that I don't feel good about, whatever it is. So all this guilt and shame is really, we can really let that go when we understand that all of this has been an acting out of a pain body where we had no choice, and it hurts and difficult. And then we can start having compassion for people around us as well, So Asa says, I feel like I'm at a stage of discovering and finding my own sacred temple, and that is a wonderful, wonderful place to be, because that is when we are starting to connect with the body and really get how the lessons live in there. That is probably the hardest stage, actually, to really start connecting in with the nervous system and getting how we solve these riddles, and then seeing the issues fall away on the outside. Like for me, I would say the last 6 months especially, it's like a lot of lessons has been thrown to me, like a lot of quite difficult things. Last year, I would say. But because I got the connection with the sacred temple, I got the connection with how to solve the riddles. It was like, painful as it was, I could go in and I could deal with it. And I still had to feel the pain, but it disappeared so fast. And this is the moving from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. Throughout history, people have had to spend lifetimes in the pain body, in specific issues happening and suffering, and there's still people on the planet going through that, where they never solve the riddle, so it's just repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated, or the issue, or the stuckness, or the poverty, or whatever it is that they're going through. They're just still stuck there because no one is teaching them and showing them how to solve the issues so that you can move to a different paradigm. And this is our job. This is our task ahead of us. Even if we just pass it on to one other person, or even if we just solve it in ourselves, we have passed on something that the world really needs. People are really, really looking for answers and a teacher who can help them with this. And Nawaf is saying the changes are contradicting, like fear and sweet at the same time. And you know, that's exactly it. It's like, you know, I know that you have opened up so much. It's like you can taste what this experience could be like of being in the light body. But then, you know, there are so many memories in all of us of the old paradigm, you know, and also old fears that are still buried, like old, there are probably still pockets or files of pain stored away that that something in you knows have to be opened up and dealt with. And the good news is once we've made this connection, as I said, it can happen so fast. Like it doesn't have to take ages. It can be really like a much quicker manifestation or a transformation process. So it just feels to me like you're really, really on track. And that, you know, I feel that that goes for all of you. And, you know, as bad as I felt about the delays, I feel like it's all had a reason, it's all had a purpose. And we're about to step into something where things are speeding up really fast and it's going to fall in place. And the changes are going to be amazing. And I suspect you're going to feel a lot more of that sweetness and the connection, because it feels incredibly liberating, freeing, sweet, beautiful, and blissful to access this place and to get to do it and to get to feel like, oh my God, this pain body that I have carried and everyone, you know, generations before me have carried, I'm free, feeling free at last, you know. Then other questions can come up like, who are you to get to have this? Why should you have this when so many other people have suffered? You know, there are a lot of questions that can come up for people, or objections or fears. So yeah, it's really just stepping into it now and having the courage to understand why it sometimes is necessary to feel comfortable, you know, this entering the unknown and accepting that and understanding, you know, the road of trials, the pain that might come up. Understand that this is a test. This is not only a test, it's like it's mirroring back something to me that I have not yet mastered. And what could that be? You know? So our next session will be, as I said, about learning to both moving into the sacred temple, like as in, you know, really connecting in with the body a lot more and looking at what are the things that are showing up from the outside. How do I bring them on the inside, and how do I transform them on the inside so they no longer have to show up on the outside? Because that is probably the most difficult thing, like in terms of, because it takes such awareness of our own sensory system and our own nervous system. And, you know, the habit for us, you know, I would think all of us, is to just disconnect from that, to not feel. And we move into our heads and we plan for the future and we think about the past, and very few of us are very, very connected in with the body in that way. But that's where we're going to find the place of truth. You know, that's where you're going to know that you're on the right path. That's where you're going to trust yourself fully and completely and get to know what full self-love looks like. And once you reach that place, your body can align and, you know, reach a place of perfect health, because the patterns that used to manifest as illness, which is a memory, like your DNA is the memory of generation. It's like a memory stick for your family. And, you know, you can clear that. And, you know, a lot of the reorganization that has been happening, supposedly, according to, you know, scientists and people who know more about this than I do technically, have been saying that the portal change has all been a recalibration of our DNA and our nervous system. So it's like these changes are happening not only on a subjective personal level, but on a collective level, which is maybe why we have seen and are seeing so much chaos. You know, all these things are being brought to the surface, where you know, the lies, the dishonesty, the frauds, the conflict, it's coming up and they're getting worse so that they have a chance to get better. But we need to help, we need to educate, we need to heal, so that people understand that it's a reflection of what's going on inside people. You know, You know, if you look at a war, it's stupid. I mean, there are people fighting and killing each other and causing immense suffering that on a deeper level, they all want the same. You know, they want love, they want respect, they want safety for their children, they want, you know, they want goodness. But then there's an acting out of a pain body, which is selfish, which is greedy, which is angry, which wants revenge, which cannot forgive. And it's all acting out of something that's not a place of truth. So for us, we need to do this work, we need to get it right, and we need to send it out there so that it can spread like a virus, like a positive virus that heals one person at a time in the right places in this world. And we can really achieve making this a much better place, both for ourselves and for, you know, just one other individual at a time around us, because it's really needed. So thank you so much for being part of this, and for being amazing and sticking with it. You know, we have a lot of love to spread. Yeah, any more questions? Any more more thoughts on this? That, you know, anything else you want me to cover before we end today? Yeah, okay, so the YouTube link, what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the recording of this, what we've done today. Then I will download this one, I will upload it to YouTube, and it will take me about half an hour, I guess, for the downloading and so, or 20 minutes. And then I'll send you a link to where all the videos are of the previous webinars. Is that okay for you? And then in the future, I will just place them in the same place until we have our gamification system up. But I'll probably still place them on the private area of YouTube. That way you can access it from anywhere, you know, without having to go into the website or anything. So yeah, so if you have any more questions, this is your chance. Again, if you have personal questions, then just drop me a message, drop me an email. I will be traveling from Saturday. I'll be away for about 2 weeks, and we are, you know, I will be seeing some of you in Malaysia. I will still run the webinar next week, but I will probably be running it from a bamboo hut in Thailand. So you might hear, you know, crickets and wild animals in the background, but hey, you know. But I will still be there, and we'll be talking about the pain body. And yeah, we have work to do. I am feeling like I am exiting the portal for sure. I feel pretty amazing. Like, as I said, there are those last 3%, almost like a last rubber band holding me back, saying, no, 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 not yet. I feel like a racehorse ready to go, but like it's the gates aren't open yet. So I am really excited to see what's going to happen once they open, because as I said, we have work to do, and we have a life to live, and we have a lot of fun to be had. You know, we need to play. You say you're ready for round 2? What's round 2 of? So yeah, drop me a message anyway. Let me know. I'm gonna end. I'm gonna end the session for today, and thank you so much. I really enjoy the energy. I can feel the energy shifting in all of us, and everything is happened in the way it was meant to. So yeah, it's time. And remember, you're the one. You're the one to do it. So lots of love to all of you, and I will send you the link in about 20 minutes. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye.